This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Tuesday, December the 5th, 2023. We're so glad you could join us. Coming up in today's program, I'm going to talk with Deputy Iowa Ag Secretary Grant Menke about his recent trade trip to Colombia. We'll also take a look at that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to talk with Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. And Jacob, what did we see happen in those grain markets today?
It's been a while since we've seen some excitement in corn and wheat, but that's what we got today. Led by wheat for the last couple of days. This is going to be a positive close here for the fifth straight day in a row. You had some strong export news last couple of days in the wheat market. You got corn market trading back above 490 at the close here today. So there's some optimism that we've put some type of short-term bottom in anyway for now. And I think having the funds at being such a short position on the wheat and the corn with this type of actions got a little bit of activity rolling from the funds, maybe some profit taking or so getting out of some of their shorts. Bean market, on the other hand, it's struggled every day. We've seen a good, strong move up, led by some type of turn of events on weather markets to where we pushed it back down. But it's going to battle its way back here. Have a pretty wide trading range today, 20-cent trading range in the soybeans. But we're going to be slightly over unchanged looks as we wrap things up.
All right, and so looking at the livestock side of things, then cattle has been the biggest story I think in the market for the last couple of weeks. And it's just been, I don't know, taking it on the chin maybe seems to be the understatement of the year right now. Well, what are we seeing? Has the bloodbath continued?
Today we had at least a Band-Aid put on. It feels like, it's a lot like the bean market. Every time we get something, some stabilization in the market, it seems like there's just something else that hits the table. And, if when you take a detailed look at this thing, you're thinking, okay, we've had such a big break. We don't have any cattle out there. This market has to go back higher. We're not seeing the stock market fall out of bed. There's optimism, and guys continue to hold on and look at things from a have to go higher mentality. But when you step back and look at where we're at and what we've seen in this market, a correction, this type of correction could even go a little bit deeper from the charts. And so I think there's a lot of fear that could continue to take place since you're still holding a long position from the funds. They have cut into that number, but there's potentially some positions that could be cut, and it doesn't mean that we have to see this bloodbath stop. Now, the cash market has seen a little bit of stabilization. We've seen the 170 bid out there that didn't get touched here this week, but last week we only traded $2 lower. So it's gonna be up to the cash market probably to keep this market stable.
Then looking at the hog side of things, earlier this year, obviously we were talking about how hogs were hurting all the time, and it's been a rough year for them as we get ready to close out 23. I mean, how do they shake out today?
Now, the protein sector has just been volatile, as a whole. You've seen just some ripping days where markets move violently, whether it's up or down. And sometimes we've had those days where we come storming back, and we get met with days like yesterday where we just fell off. And today, another day today. A lot of today's news is the Chinese market has fallen off. You got a lot of hogs over there. They're rushing to town. They're flooding the market right now with even some sows, which eventually could help out in the long term. But they're afraid of getting disease in their barns, so they're going to get what they can right now out of these hogs. And that's market pulling back. I think they said 7% here today or overnight. That's putting just a lot of pressure on our hogs, that there's just not going to be that demand for pork, whether it's here or domestically or on an export side of the table. We end up closing $1.40 lower here in February, so we're trading down below 70 now in February, and so we need to see the funds step back in here to this market to help stabilize it, I believe.
And traditionally, is it not? This is kind of a tougher time of the year once the holiday, surge has kind of passed and all those, stockpiles have been long since bought. I mean, this kind of is a quiet time for that market, isn't it?
Yeah. Seasonally, it's hard for this market to rally anyway this time of year. But just extra pressure with some news across the seas, and the dollar increasing like we've seen. That's not adding any type of help to it. But yeah, seasonally you see this type of pullback as you've gotten through the buying for the holiday season. So it could be a tough road to go here for a while. But I think if you see that kill off in China take place now, you could start to see some of those back months pick up here before we know it.
All right. Well, if folks want to talk about market strategies or think about what they should be doing to finalize their 2024 plans, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you at agmarket.net?
Hey, look us up, agmarket.net Intel. That's where we get all of our commentary. There's a 30-day free trial. We'd love to see you there and chat with you about what's going on in your operation.
All right, Jacob. Well, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Hey, Dustin. Thanks for having me, guys.
And that again was Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the IRN market window and see how those numbers closed. March corn closed up a nickel at $4.90 and a half. January beans down 3/4 at $13.05 and a half. Soy meal up $9.50 at $4.17.80. Soy oil down 98 cents at $50.26. Chicago wheat up 10 3/4 at $6.31 and a quarter. Kansas wheat was up a nickel at $6.62 3/4. Minneapolis wheat up 2 3/4 cents at $7.39. Oats down 3 1/4 at $3.91 3/4. December live cattle $1.25 higher at $168.50. January feeders $4.17 higher at $214.70. Lean hogs were down $1.22 at $66.82. Pork cutouts unchanged at $81.25. Class 3 milk was 16 cents higher. And that's been a check of the market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, Iowa Deputy Ag Secretary Grant Menke joins me. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. We know that Iowa is an agricultural production powerhouse in the United States, second only to the much larger state of California. We are a powerhouse in corn, eggs, beef, pork, and even soybeans. Well, obviously that has to have a market somewhere, and keeping up good trade relations and showcasing Iowa products is top of mind for the folks at the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship. Recently, Deputy Ag Secretary Grant Menke went to Colombia with a trade group to talk about the free trade agreement we have, make sure it's strengthened, and to talk about its importance going forward. All right, so we talked with your boss about his many trade trips he gets to take, and I know he was just recently across the pond himself, but you were just down in Colombia, I understand, and tell us a little bit what you were doing down there and what kind of things you were talking about.
Well, we had organized by the Iowa Economic Development Authority a great opportunity for a 20-member delegation of Iowa ag commodity organizations and protein exporters to have a 1-week trade mission to Colombia. So it was a great team. We had folks from Iowa Corn, Iowa Soybeans, Iowa Farm Bureau, Iowa Pork, Iowa Beef Industry Council, Midwest Premier Foods, and Burkwood Farms all together and spent a week in Bogota and Medellin, and just to explore possibilities for how we can take a real free trade success story in Colombia and take it to the next level. We're currently number 4. Colombia is our number 4 destination for U.S. corn, number 3 in ethanol, number 6 in pork, number 8 in DDGs, also ranking high in terms of soybean meal, beef as well. So had a great opportunity to meet lots of people and businesses in Colombia and see how we can do more business to promote Iowa agriculture to the benefit of our farmers, of course.
Now, of course, maybe remind our viewers here about the trade situation we have, the agreements we have, and why it's important now to be going down there and just kind of strengthening those relationships.
Great point, Dustin. So the first time I visited Colombia was in 2012. And at that point, we had very little trade with Colombia. Later in 2012, we had a free trade agreement signed. And so the last 10 years has really been a free trade success story with that agriculture trade relationship between the US and Colombia. And over that time, we have seen tremendous growth. As an example, we've seen between 2012 and today, we've seen over 400% growth in exports of corn, of soybeans, and pork to Colombia. We've seen 300% growth in soybean meal, 300% growth in DDGs, and over 900% growth in beef exports. So the message is clear. Free trade works. We are a quality, timely, safe, reliable supplier of high quality products here in the state of Iowa. And so this opportunity showcased ways in which we can continue to even grow that partnership further in the years to come.
So politically, I know we've heard that there's some, well, they have changes in administration and leadership there, just like any other country has. And so I know there's concerns about free trade agreements. And, what was the message you were able to talk to and give to the people down there, those decision makers?
Well, we certainly expressed our gratitude for the free trade relationship that we have. And I would just say on that point, it is a relationship that has worked for both nations. Like we've seen skyrocketing ag exports from the US to Colombia, but during that time, their exports to the United States have also skyrocketed. Their leading products, they export over $2 billion worth of coffee to the United States and also over $1 billion of cut flowers. So we actually have a trade deficit with Colombia. They actually send $700 million more worth of ag products to us than we do to them. So it is a relationship that works both ways. But as you mentioned, Dustin, they have had a recent administration change, and one of his pillars coming into office was that Colombia needs to be self-sufficient in corn production. Right now, their corn production is about 1.7 million metric tons. Their demand is approximately 7.5 to 8 million metric tons. So they are a long ways off in terms of being able to supply their corn. And I would just remind the viewers, they're producing 1.7 million metric tons. Our harvest that just wrapped up is about 386 million metric tons. So in terms of the scale here, they're not even close when it comes to our ability to produce and supply that quality product. Some might think, well, they're close to Brazil, close to Argentina. Why aren't they just getting all their corn from there? And they're getting some from there, but there are some real infrastructure challenges where right now, shipping corn from the Gulf in the United States to one of the ports in Colombia is actually half the price that it actually costs to move product across the country. So we have a transportation advantage, we have a production advantage. And again, we're great at producing corn, pork, beef, soybean meal, ethanol, DDGs, etc. So it's great that we can supply those products to them and they can take the products that they do best, flowers, coffee, avocados, other things, and send them our way. So free trade is a great thing for both nations, for farmers, and for consumers.
That's interesting that you brought up about how it's cheaper for us to ship there. People, when I was in Brazil last year, you kind of saw that everything that they ship goes to the southern ports, whether that's Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro. But the thing is, they have to then go up and around. They can't go through the Amazon rainforest very well and very efficiently, and especially when they're trying to protect that land, but also it's just dense thicket. It'd be like basically trying to move a ship from Houston, Texas, all the way around to Duluth, Minnesota via water. Yeah, you can do it, but it's cheaper to go right down the Mississippi River, distance-wise, you would think, than it is to go around a whole continent just to move some corn.
Yep, that's exactly right. And that we got to see that infrastructure challenge in full effect. And while they're working on some improvements, they don't have a rail system in Colombia at all. So, and we asked about, is there visions of getting rail back going as a mode of transportation. They said yes, but they have other more pressing challenges before they can get to that point. Just one other thing I wanted to mention, because I know both of us, Dustin, are fans of eating food. During this time, it was exciting to see our U.S. pork and beef promoted and sold at grocery stores, at meat markets, at restaurants. So we got to eat plenty of U.S. pork and beef while we were down there as well. And it really impressed upon me just the importance of those partnerships, certainly with the USDA Foreign Ag Service, U.S. Meat Export Federation, U.S. Grains Council, U.S. Soybean Export Council, all of those organizations, and the Checkoff organizations like Iowa Corn, Iowa Soybeans, Iowa Farm Bureau, not a Checkoff organization, but other important organization, Iowa Beef Industry Council, Iowa Pork. Those dollars that go to those organizations to help open up and expand markets for our products, seeing that in action and seeing it working was really, really exciting. And that's definitely one of the things that I will bring back home is partnerships are so important when it comes to growing markets for our products. And we, as a productivity powerhouse here in Iowa, as we continue to produce more on less acres in a more efficient manner, we are going to need more markets for our products. So places like Colombia are going to be great destinations for our products today and in the years ahead.
All right, that's Grant Menke, Deputy Secretary of Agriculture here for the state of Iowa. Grant, thanks so much for taking the time to visit with us.
Always a pleasure, Dustin. Thank you.
That again was Iowa Deputy Ag Secretary Grant Menke. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ag weather outlook. Now, we just had some cloudy skies to start the day. When I came in, Mark said it was snowing, those big, fluffy, kind of sloppy snowflakes that disappear when they hit the ground, but that snowfall is pushing its way away from central Iowa. Eastern Iowa is going to be dealing with it just a little bit longer here. But let's go ahead and see what the National Weather Service has in store for us for the next 24 hours. Well, we saw some large flakes floating down here earlier this morning, and those did taper off and push away. Really didn't leave too much in the way of accumulation, just those big, fluffy, wet flakes that just kind of hit the ground and disappear. Now, that's moving its way across the state, and we're starting to see the skies then clear behind that. And high temperatures today were in the mid-30s to the low 40s. Tonight, look for mostly clear skies, except for maybe the extreme eastern part of the state, as those clouds will still be pushing their way out. And we'll see lows anywhere from 20 to about 26 degrees. Now, tomorrow, skies will continue to clear. Temps will start to warm again from the west. We'll see highs tomorrow ranging anywhere from the low 40s to the low to mid-50s across a good chunk of the state. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee looking for sunny skies and 51. Shenandoah will be sunny and 53. Des Moines, sunny skies and 49 degrees. Waterloo, partly cloudy, about 43 for the high there. Albia looking to be mostly sunny, also about 49 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. With that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified each time we put out a new video project. Don't forget about our free market podcast coming to your inbox several times a day. You can get those delivered through Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.